So today I wanted to make a video for you, a short little video lesson about how to write the final exam essay. So I thought that I would do that by showing you how to write one for the practice final. So you had two topics and you could choose whichever topic you want, and that's what you will do for your final exam. Also, you will choose one topic. The topic that I chose to show you this example is the federal or state governments should pursue legislation to limit the amount of sugary drinks sold in low-income neighborhoods. And then the task is to take a position on this statement and explain my reasons. So for your final exam, you will be going through the writing process. And so the first step is brainstorming. So first of all, I want to make sure that I know what federal or state governments are. And what does that have to do with anything? So those are those are the levels of government that collect taxes. So you have to pay state taxes, you have to pay income tax, federal income tax, but you have to pay sales tax and property tax to state governments. So what they do with those taxes is that then they use the money that citizens pay or residents pay for taxes to enact public goods, public policies, to do things that help the whole society. But it's about, all of these topics have something to do with money, and even if you don't think that they have to do with money, they have to do with some organization. Like, you have to say to yourself, like, who is responsible? Like, who's in charge? Who's responsible? Maybe you might want to say, who is at fault? You might want to say, what does it have to do with me? Because maybe you might think, oh, well, this issue doesn't have anything to do with me. But if you are a taxpayer, then it does have to do with you. And if you are if you live in a low-income neighborhood, then it does have to do with you. And if you don't live in a low-income neighborhood, and if you say, but I'm not a taxpayer, okay, but it still has to do with you, because if the federal or state government can this pursue legislation. Pursue legislation means make laws. If they can make laws about one neighborhood or one kind of neighborhood or one kind of food, then they can do it about another. So it does actually affect you in some way. Maybe not today, but it does. So part of my brainstorming is to figure out who are we talking about and what does it mean to pursue legislation. And so then I might start to think about laws. Like, to pass a law means to make something legal or illegal, but this one is talking about limiting the amount of sugary drinks sold in income neighborhoods. So then I have to say, go back to who is responsible for selling and who is at fault. Well, the people who sell things are companies, and they're private companies, and the government doesn't have any rules. Like, the government can't tell private companies what they can and cannot do. That's not the way that works. So instead, so we have to think about, like, if they made a law that companies had to limit the amount of sugary drinks they sold in low-income neighborhoods, first of all, that law would probably not pass, especially here in Texas. But if it did pass, because these kinds of laws have been suggested before, but if it did pass, then those companies would probably adjust. If the government told them, okay, so you're creating a public health problem by selling too many sugary drinks to low-income neighborhoods, and in the article that you read, it said that low-income neighborhoods have more people who are minorities who are more at risk from drinking too many sugary drinks. So it becomes a public health problem. It becomes a problem. So if those companies were told that they needed to limit the amount of sugary drinks sold, they might raise their prices. Because right now, one of the reasons that people are drinking a lot of sugary drinks is because, number one, they want to, but number two, they're cheap, and number three, they don't understand, as the article pointed out, they don't understand that they're very unhealthy for them. So if the companies raised prices on the sugary drinks, well, then that means that people might not buy them as much because they cost more. And that would actually still work out for the low income neighborhoods. So actually passing laws about limiting the amount of sugary drinks sold in low income neighborhoods could work. It could work. So now I'm going to think about benefits, because this is part of my brainstorming, right? I need to think about it before I just start writing, because I don't want my writing to be unorganized. So part of the benefits is if we had a law that limited the amount of sugary drinks sold in low-income neighborhoods, well, we might get a public health benefit. Well, there might be more people to drink water, like in the article. And there might be more people to become aware of health issues. That happened in the article too. There might be more people who were exercising, right? If we limited the amount of sugary drinks and we put the signs up that the article talked about, there might be some benefits to the public at large. What other benefits, would we have? Well, we would not just societal public health benefit, but we would help minorities most affected, or most, and the article it calls them at risk, most at risk for obesity and diet-related problems. So yeah, it would be a public health benefit. It would help society, but it would specifically help minorities, and that's important because they're some of the most affected. So it's going to help them a lot. It also might make America less unhealthy. You know that we have in America kind of an obesity problem. We have a lot of health problems, and we also have some states that are considered like the fattest or least healthy states, and some cities that are the fattest or least unhealthy cities. I think Houston, Texas is still in the lead for less unhealthy. So if we limited the amount of sugary drinks, we actually might have an impact on the country as a whole. You know, that might be something that happens. So if people are healthier and fewer minorities are at risk, and America as a whole is becoming healthier, these are all really just health benefits. So if I wanted to, I could put that in one long body paragraph. Another idea, though, that's not related to health is money, right? So then if minorities and people in low-income neighborhoods are spending less money on sugary drinks, they might spend more money. They might have more money to spend on other things that they need, on healthier foods and drinks and water and vegetables. They might have more money because they're low income, so that means that they don't have a lot of extra money. That also, by limiting the amount of sugary drinks sold in low income neighborhoods, these companies could then make more money by developing, this is like innovation, they might develop like diet drinks or health drinks that are actually better. It might force them to come up with some ideas that are actually healthier. Okay, that's my brainstorming for the position that we do need those laws to limit, right? To limit the sale of sugary drinks. But what if I say, no, we don't need those laws we don't need laws passed to do that. If I say no, we don't need laws passed to do that, then what are some of my reasons for saying no? Well, my first reason is that laws don't solve all problems. You can make something illegal, but that doesn't mean that suddenly the problem is going to go away, because some people don't follow the laws. So I would actually explain that laws don't solve all problems, that just because you pass a law, it doesn't really mean that those companies will stop. And that's my next point of this, is that enforcement would be impossible. Like, how would we actually enforce it? Would we have to go, like, would we have sugary drink police, and they would go to all the stores and just see who has too many and make the companies report? Like, it would be impossible to enforce that. Another idea is black market sugary drinks. The way that's happened in the past is when we outlawed certain things like alcohol, for example. We have the historical precedent. It just made people buy it more. They just bought it from the black market. They just found another way to buy it. Because generally, if people want to drink sugar, then they will. Just like if they want to drink alcohol, they will. The other part is freedom, like individual freedom. Individuals get to make their own choices. And if you're going to limit the amount of sugary drinks in low income neighborhoods, but you're not going to do it in high income neighborhoods, then it becomes a question of equity and fairness, because laws are laws. They're supposed to apply to all of us equally, but if they don't apply to all of us equally, then that's a problem. Okay, so I have two really good ideas here, but I can't talk about both because literally I'm supposed to take one position and defend it. So I think what I see right now in this brainstorming is that if I'm going to argue for laws that are going to limit the amount of sugary drinks, then that's going to be about making people healthier, making neighborhoods healthier, and making the public at large healthier, and maybe making America healthier, and taking some of the money that was normally spent on unhealthy sugary drinks and spending that on healthier. So my main argument for passing those laws is health. It's a health benefit. But on the other side, I have a lot of different reasons of why I wouldn't want to pass those laws. And they're not all health related. Those are that laws don't solve all problems. Enforcing those laws would be impossible or very, very difficult. People would still go find a way to get sugary drinks. They might even make their own. Individuals get to make their own choices without restriction from the government. And also, if we're only doing it in low-income neighborhoods, then it wouldn't really be as fair not to do it in other neighborhoods. So I basically have, what I'm doing now is I'm making a decision about which position, because I can only take one. Do I want to argue for health benefits? That would be yes, we should pass these laws. Or do I want to argue a lot of other a lot of other ideas, which would be multiple kind of arguments, right? Like, no, we shouldn't only pass these laws. So for my essay that I'm going to kind of outline, I'm not going to write the whole essay, but I'm going to outline it. First of all, I'm going to have an introduction, and at the end of that introduction, I'm going to have my thesis statements, which is going to sound a lot like the prompt. Federal or state governments should not pass laws to limit the number of sugary drinks sold in lower income neighborhoods. I'm going to go with the no side. But this is the last sentence of the intro. Before I get to that last sentence, I'm going to have to write an intro, and I'll get back to that in a minute. Now, my first topic sentence has to prove my thesis. It has to support it and prove it. So my first topic sentence would be, passing laws does not always solve problems. And then I would explain that, and I would give specific examples of that, and I would use maybe information from the article. My second topic sentence, second body paragraph would be, up here with the laws, I might work enforcement, because that's about laws. I might work that into that body paragraph too. My second topic sentence is going to be about there's a better way to solve the problem than laws. And that would be using the information from the article, because the information from the article said that if you just tell someone, teach them, show them, look, if you're going to drink this, it's going to take this much exercise to burn those calories, like the signs, the brightly colored signs. So instead of getting laws passed, I might want to acknowledge that there's a better way to solve the problem, and I would still use the article as my support, and I